up, my friends? Mike again, glad to have you guys back. Today is very exciting because we on this channel are one of the first ones to unbox and set up the newest products from Secretlab. So this is the metal desk that they made. It's called the Secretlab MAGNUS. And because it's made of metal, they sent me a lot of magnetic accessories that they made themselves. So today's gonna be very fun. We're gonna unbox it together, we're gonna set it up together, and I'm gonna show you how I do my setup. And we're gonna go through my first impressions of how I feel about this desk. And after that, I'm gonna be using the desk for the next 3 to 4 weeks to video edit, game, and do everything on so that I can give you guys a better review. So if you do wanna see that long-term review, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to get the latest updates about my channel from YouTube. And I guess that's enough talking. Let's get right into the unboxing. So this is the magnetic desk mat. It's proprietary, there's none like this, and I find it to be pretty cool because right away you can see that this leather is pretty soft to the touch. It feels pretty good on my hands, and the whole thing is magnetic, so it doesn't shift at all when I'm pushing it around. But I do notice something else, which I'll mention in a minute or so. The desk mat feels a lot better than this desk over here. And what I noticed throughout building the whole thing is that the desk is actually not all made out of metal. That would be super heavy. It's actually just this layer of metal over here. And underneath, it's actually using, I think it might be wood or something else because it sounds different when I knock on it. But over here, it's all using magnets, so there's no space in between. It doesn't shift. It's a very solid desk mat. Anyways, the other thing I noticed is that when I was touching the desk mat, is that this is kind of wobbly. And I think it's because of the way the legs are oriented. So as you can see, the legs are actually flat like this. So when you push front and back, it kind of wobbles like this. So that's something important to note, but the desk is actually designed to be put up against a wall, and that's where these bumper things come in. So these actually came in a separate box. I hope they include it because it's quite important, because without it, it's quite wobbly. So you're supposed to put them in the back, and yes, these are magnetic as well. And now that's on place, it's a lot more steadier. So the reason why this desk is made of metal is not just for the looks or the feels, but there's actually a purpose to it, and that's because they actually made their own magnetic accessories. So Secretlab has actually made this LED light, which we're gonna install right now. Okay, so let's try lighting this up first. Whoa, this is cool. So there's actually a rainbow effect here. It's not just a single light, and the transition of colors looks to be very smooth. And let's install it. So let's open this up, and then we're gonna put this underneath. Whoa, okay, that's quick. And when we close it back up, that's where you see all the crazy RGB lights over here. So it actually comes with a remote as well that you can press different colors like red, green, teal, but I think rainbow looks the best. So just to test, when we put it against the wall, you can still see a bit of light, but when you put it all against it, you can't really. So if we put it on the back of the thing instead, oh yeah. So by putting it on the back like this, you can see it a lot more against the wall. It gives you a lot more glow versus just seeing it in between over here. So it's a choice you're gonna have to make, but again, it's pretty cool that you can like take it out and put it anywhere you want, as many times as you want. Also, if you're wondering, we're gonna do a stability test to see how stable it is. So the max load is like 200 pounds, I'm 150 something. So I'm gonna shake forwards and back first. So when it's up against the wall, it is a lot more stable. And now side to side. So when I'm sitting on it, it's pretty stable. But yeah, what do you guys think? So anyways, let's actually move the table to the other wall and actually put stuff on it and then do the stability test again. That might look a lot more legit than me wobbling it. So now that we have everything in place, let's do the cable management in the back and see if that tray thing really helps make your wires go away or disappear. Okay, so the most important thing when setting up desks, I think, is getting a power extension cable hub like this that you can put many ports in. But anyways, let's just put this in first. So once that important bit is in, I'm gonna plug in all the cables from my other stuff first and then route them. And notice how there's actually a wider gap over here to put cables through if you need to. Okay, so now that I got all the wires plugged in, I'm gonna figure out how to neatly cable manage all of this into the tray. And yeah, here we go. Okay, so I think all these cables are managed pretty well. Everything is hooked up here so that you can't see it from the front. And I gotta say, it was pretty useful or easier to do than the conventional way that I do on my other desk. I do have to mention though, I didn't use this inner part as much. It only fits the thinner cables. With the thicker ones, I did have to lead them in from the back because I wanted to also push the monitor and the Mac Mini over here backwards a bit more so that I can have more space in the front of the desk. So there's another part that I still have to manage. It's on the leg itself. So as you can see, the outlet and all the other cables are led through over here. And this is like kind of dangling, kind of not pleasant looking. So you can add this magnetic sleeve over here to the leg to hide all of it. Boom. Just like that. And it looks a little bit better. It could be longer down here, all the way to the end, so that it can hide it more, or I can just move it down like that. So yeah. Okay, so this is the front of the setup. We're gonna see how well we did with the cable management and see if we can see any cables anywhere. But let's spice up the setup with some RGB first. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. So let's get closer and see how it works. So over here, I did put the magnetic RGB strip back under this thing so it illuminates the Magnus logo over here. And unintentionally, it also lights up everything that you put on here. So I think it looks pretty cool because if you put it forward a bit like this, you can't see the RGB light. But when you put it back here, it illuminates that part. Same with the little light over here. So that's something really cool and neat. Also for cable management, using this slot over here, I find that it's really useful when you have really thin cables like this. So you can just tuck it under and hide it behind the object. So it looks pretty clean. You can't really see any wires. And the other cool thing here is that with this light remote that I have over here, I used to always have to put it on the side because of this wire, but now it feeds right into the inside of the desk over here, so I can't really see it at all. So that's really, really nice. And also I do have to say with the Mac Mini, the monitor, eGPU, and all of that, I did have to feed the wires over the edge of the desk versus in the slots over here. Because if I had to do that, I would have to push the Mac Mini all the way out over here. And as you can see, the desk space here is very limited, and it's actually shorter than most desks if you only count this space and not the back part. So because I want to save more desk space, I had to push it back all the way like this, and that's a lot better. It gives me a lot more room to move around and all that. So the only wire on this setup you kind of see is this one over here, and if you're into mechanical keyboards, I think you're gonna have this problem because you must use a wire. For most people, you would plug it in, it lights up, it's all cool, and it feels satisfying to type on, but you got this thing that's flailing on your desk. It doesn't necessarily look the best. So unless you have a coiled cable, a fancy one, this is gonna be a problem. And that's where these anchor things come in. So these are super, super magnetic, very hard to pull apart. And you can use these to pin them down like so. And I wanna guide it over here in this shape, and to me that looks a lot more organized. So for people who are like me who might have OCD, this is very satisfying, and these magnets are actually pretty strong, so they're not gonna move around when I adjust it, and it's pretty high quality. And of course, if you're a gamer and you use a gaming mouse, you gotta charge this as well. You can either guide it through the wires over here and just put another anchor like that, or you can actually guide the wire underneath the desk. So over here, I actually have the micro USB cable to charge my mouse. I can actually guide it in between the desk and the frame and put it over here. And with the anchor, I can actually pin it down underneath over here, so I can pull out whenever. So it's pretty neat, and when I need it, I can just plug it in my mouse at the end of the day and leave it there to charge so it's ready tomorrow. Also, you can do the same thing with your headphone if you want to charge it. This one uses a Type-C though, but you would have a Type-C cable and then just plug it in to charge it, and same thing. So that's pretty useful. So apparently this Secretlab desk is supposed to work super well with the Secretlab chair as well, and they say it's because you can make it like perfectly flat over here. When you move the armrest up like this, you know, you can move pretty close because you can shift the armrest in, and yeah, it's pretty good. But I do have to mention that the desk is pretty tall. Like right now, my feet are actually dangling. So I'm definitely gonna have to use a footrest with this desk. The cool thing here is that you can make the desk higher and adjust the legs using the screws on the bottom, but you can't make it lower than the minimum height that it is. It kind of sucks for shorter dudes, you know? Because the thing here is that if I try to make the chair lower, this arm thing isn't going to be high enough, but I think if I move in, I can still use it like this, and it's not bad, but I'd rather have it flush with the desk so that it just feels better, you know? And of course, I can lower the armrest all the way down here as well and just push myself all the way in like so to game, but that's really close to the desk. I like having some distance. So this would be the best configuration for me. And it's something just reminded me when the chair bumped on the desk, you can really see the screen wobble. And that's because my desk isn't pushed all the way back, again, because I have the foam stuff. And I did try layering all 4 of those bumper things. I think I'm going to need more to make it a lot more stable. Otherwise, I hope you guys took a few important key things out of this video. To summarize, I do think the biggest thing I noticed is the wobbling. You do need to put it up against the wall, or you really need those bumpers. And I really do hope that Secretlab will include them with the desk, because it's quite essential. Because when gamers are gaming and it's very intense and moving the mouse and everything, the screen's gonna wobble, especially if you're using a monitor arm or something. But if you're using the bumpers, it's a lot more stable, as I tested before. And by the way, I know that these are still prototypes and pre-production models, so I hope they find a way to enhance its stability and come up with a better fix when it comes to the final product. And the second thing is that the desk is taller. I am like 170 centimeters. So at that height, I'm gonna need a footrest. So that's something else to note. Otherwise, I think the build quality is superb. They actually like reinvented the desk, or improved on the desk. Usually a desk is just a desk, like who cares? But with the ease of use with the magnetic accessories, the RGB lighting, and the desk mat is actually very impressive, because you don't have to change your entire desk. You can just change the mat for an entirely new look. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna make a ton of different looks and accessories for this. And the mat actually feels quite good on the hand, so you would not need a desk mat, although I might add one anyways because I think it looks better. Otherwise, I do think that flip out cable management tray is quite unique and quite useful as well, although it's something you do once and then you don't really touch it ever again unless you're adding something new. So if you're always changing up your desk setup and adding new things or taking it off to find the perfect configuration for yourself, that is something that is very useful. And again, with just their accessories, they're all very high quality. Like I've seen magnetic accessories around, they're made by like a lot of different brands and you kind of have to put them all together. Now Secretlab just has everything and they make everything, so they like vertically integrated. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but so far I am quite impressed. However, I am gonna start gaming with it for a few weeks and I'm gonna give you the long-term review. Guys, if you have any questions at all, comment below. I will answer it in the longer-term review. So if you guys are interested in the desk, make sure you use my link in the description below. It is my affiliate link, so if you buy something, it will help support the channel at no extra cost to you. Or if you don't wanna buy it yet and wait for my longer-term review, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on to get the latest updates about my channel from YouTube. And that's it for now, guys. I'll see you in the very next video. See you guys. And hey, it's me again. Just want to say, I apologize if the viewing angles was a bit weird, and it's because I'm working with a lot of stuff in this room and I just want to give you a tiny bit behind the scenes. So I got one desk set up over here, the other one over here, and I have another desk with all the junk and stuff. It's very messy over there. It's very messy and chaotic right now. Hopefully I'll find a better way of filming a desk. It is quite big. So anyways, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I worked really hard on it and I'll see you in the very next one.